Let's start with a simple question. When people feel bored, what is the very first thing they usually do? Do they go outside and move their body? Do they sit down to work on long-term goals? Do they spend time on hobbies they once cared about? More often than not, the answer looks very different. In the modern world, social media has quietly become a default response to boredom. It almost feels necessary, as if scrolling is a requirement to keep up with life as it exists today. And yet, at the same time, it feels like those same platforms are slowly eating away at some of the most important years people have. So here's a question that might sound strange at first. If someone had the opportunity to live a life completely free from social media, would they actually take it? For many people, the relationship with technology starts innocently. A first smartphone arrives and suddenly there's excitement. Games can be played anywhere, entertainment is always available, and everything feels new. But as time goes on, something else takes center stage. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. Everyone is using them. Being able to talk to friends at any moment, following people with the same humor, interests, and mindset. Feeling connected, included, and constantly in touch. On the surface, it feels like a positive thing. But slowly, a side effect begins to appear. A habit forms. Endless scrolling. First thing in the morning, the moment people get home. Any empty gap in the day where nothing is happening. The phone comes out. The feed refreshes. And this kind of scrolling doesn't really give anything back. There's no learning, no excitement, no real interest. Just hours quietly disappearing while watching fragments of other people's lives. From the outside, it looks like a clear problem. But when everyone around is doing the exact same thing, it feels normal, almost invisible. Over time, this behavior doesn't stay neutral. It escalates. After major life transitions, moments of uncertainty, or periods of feeling lost, scrolling often becomes a coping mechanism. When structure disappears, no classes, no clear goals, fewer social obligations, suddenly there is unlimited free time. And instead of using that time intentionally, many people sink even deeper into their screens. The phone becomes a distraction from unanswered questions, uncomfortable thoughts, and problems that are easier to avoid than face. Energy drops. Motivation fades. Everything starts to feel heavy. But there's another layer to it. Endlessly consuming carefully curated lives online does something to the mind. Constant comparison creeps in. Someone is partying. Someone is in a perfect relationship. Someone is traveling the world. Someone else looks like they have life completely figured out. Meanwhile, the viewer is lying awake late at night, scrolling in silence, feeling behind, inadequate, and stuck. Even when it becomes obvious that something is wrong, leaving feels impossible. Friendships, identity, daily routines, everything seems tied to social media. Walking away feels like losing connection to the world itself. Until one day, the cycle becomes impossible to ignore. When days blur together and nothing changes, a realization eventually hits. Repeating the same pattern leads nowhere. Something has to change. So the decision is made, not impulsively, but deliberately. This isn't worth it anymore. The first weeks without social media feel uncomfortable. Suddenly, there's time. Too much time. Boredom hits hard without the constant dopamine hits from scrolling. But then something unexpected happens. Boredom turns out to be useful. It creates space for curiosity, imagination, thinking, and reflection. With no easy distractions left, people are finally forced to face the questions they've been avoiding. to search for meaning, to figure out what actually matters. And in that space, new things begin to grow. New hobbies appear, old passions return, goals take shape, self-understanding deepens. Slowly, people start learning who they are and what they want their future to look like. For the first time in years, intentions turn into actions, and the things once postponed finally begin to happen. Over time, something begins to change. Energy slowly comes back. Motivation returns. For the first time in a long while, it feels like people are no longer just existing. They're actively participating in life itself. And this shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the constant distraction is finally gone. Without a phone demanding attention every few seconds, focus starts to repair itself. People can sit down and actually think. Work on something without reflexively reaching for a screen. When boredom appears, instead of scrolling it away, they look for things to do, real things. And with that, a long-forgotten feeling returns: presence. One of the biggest fears people have before stepping away from social media is FOMO, the fear of missing out. The worry that without constant updates, they'll be out of the loop. At first, that fear feels very real. But then hours pass, days pass, weeks turn into months. Trends come and go, celebrity drama fades, and it becomes clear that every second spent scrolling is also a second taken away from real, lived experience. Another common fear is losing connections. The assumption is that without social media, relationships will disappear. But what often happens instead is revealing. Out of hundreds of followers, most were never real friends to begin with. Many don't even notice when someone leaves social media. Liking a post or commenting on a story doesn't create genuine connection. Real friends do. And real friends find ways to stay connected, with or without apps. In fact, those relationships often feel stronger when they're no longer filtered through screens. Conversations become deeper. Time together feels more meaningful. Because real connection isn't built through a feed, it's built through shared reality. But perhaps the most noticeable change comes in mental health. Life starts to feel quieter, softer, more grounded. Simple moments suddenly stand out. Walking outside, eating breakfast in silence, long conversations that stretch late into the night. Instead of documenting every experience, people begin to actually live them. There's a calm that comes from being present, a sense of peace that wasn't there before. Happiness increases too, and part of that comes from no longer being constantly exposed to other people's lives. The endless comparisons fade. And with distance, it becomes obvious how much of what's shown online isn't even real. Social media presents highlights, not truth. Perfect days that weren't actually perfect. Smiles that hide exhaustion. Moments that look amazing on screen, but felt empty in real life. Once that illusion disappears, the mind finally gets some rest. Anxiety eases. Attention shifts inward. Instead of watching others, people start investing energy into their own lives, appreciating what they already have instead of wishing for something else. Because comparison doesn't inspire growth, it distorts reality. And while social media does have benefits, the way it's commonly used today isn't healthy. There is a full life happening beyond the screen. You don't miss life by leaving the feed. You miss it while scrolling it. So here's that question again, the one that once sounded ridiculous. If someone had the chance to live a life completely free from social media, would they take it? For many, once they've experienced the alternative, the answer becomes clear. Yes.